The following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. For advertising information or to find more great podcasts, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com and follow us on Twitter at RealTheUnderdog.
Okay. Well, just for the record, we got it's sunny in Phoenix too. 52 to.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunny in Phoenix podcast, a weekly podcast where we keep you up to date on everything Phoenix Suns basketball. My name is Charlie Erling, and as always, I'm joined by Mitch Krmpotich.
We're 5-0.
We are 5-0. It's incredible. This string of games has been something that we've been longing for as Suns fans, and we're finally getting to see it. So in this episode, we'll break down wins against the Clippers, Pacers, and Heat. And then after that, we'll break down the games coming up against the Thunder, Sixers, and Mavericks.
Follow us on Twitter at SunnyandPHXPod. Same thing for Instagram. Go on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review and a comment, and you will get a shout out on the show.
At the top of the show, we want to send our condolences to Paul Westphal and his family, as it has just been found out that he was diagnosed with brain cancer. So definitely wishing them all the best, Paul and his family. Paul Westphal is a key piece of Suns history, just an amazing player and still involved with the team. So wishing him and his family all the best. We also will be giving a shout out for our bet question from last week. Shout out to Joe Shook, who is at ShakedUp12 on Twitter, for getting the bet question correct, right on the dot. Our question was, how many points would Cam Johnson have in our last game against the Pacers? Joe got it right on the head with 14, and I also guessed 14 points, so I won that one too.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm undefeated.
This has been a bad streak for me.
Just like the Suns, I am also undefeated in the bubble.
I'll take that. If the Suns are going to be undefeated, so can you. You can be undefeated as well.
That's right. But yeah, go ahead and tweet at us at SunnyandPHXPod with your response to our bet question that will come later in the show. And whoever is closest to the correct amount on our little trivia question will get a shout out on the show.
All right. We all know the Suns are 5-0, and we're going to break down these games on the way to this 5-0. And the first one is against the Clippers, and we're a week late on this. I believe this game was the day after we put out our last episode.
Yes, it was last Tuesday, August 4th.
But did you guys hear that Devin Booker had a game-winning shot in this game?
If you haven't, then you probably don't listen to this show or any other Suns shows or follow the Suns on Instagram. I mean, it's everywhere.
Or just ESPN or Bleacher Report in general.
Or just like going outside in Phoenix.
It's
everywhere.
It's everywhere, and this game was just so incredible. We don't need to beat it to death since it's been talked about for nearly a week already, but man, the game winner was just a thing of beauty. That's a signature Devin Booker moment. I saw someone say when he retires someday, that will be one of the best plays in his highlight reel, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like Kobe.
He did.
Really did.
And, a lot of people can agree with that and say that was Kobe-esque. Devin Booker has a lot of the same qualities as Kobe did. But then that also offends some people as well. Some of the diehard Kobe fans, it's tough for them to let anyone compete with him, but there's so many things that are similar between them. They had a great relationship. Devin really looked up to him, and it's a fair thing to say. There's some Kobe Bryant and Devin Booker.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, I mean, this shot was just amazing. And I mean, so smart. He's got Paul George and Kawhi guarding him, but he gets just the right amount of space to get the shot up. It goes in perfectly. And Eddie Johnson pointed out that he did this so there was no time remaining on the clock. In the past, Booker has hit some what could be game winners, but he leaves 3 or 4 seconds left on the clock. And so the other team gets the ball for one more opportunity to score. But in this case, that the backboard flashes red, the buzzer goes off right as it goes through the net. There's nothing you can do about it.
Such a beautiful thing. And, maybe he did get fouled on the play too, which it doesn't matter now, but maybe that happened. And you could see that he had to change his shot a little bit midair because Paul George may have followed him, but if he didn't, it was a very good contest. It was great defense,
right,
no matter what. And you could see that he, with his right arm, he had his left hand off the ball by the time it went up. And you could tell he had to put a little bit extra on it. But, man, just so pretty. And all the great camera angles of it.
Yeah.
Oh, here I am saying that we don't need to talk about this much. But
we can't not.
You can't not.
It's awesome. Well, and I like the angle where you see just how close Paul George's hand got to the ball. I mean, Booker's got the ball just on his fingertips, and Paul George's hand basically touches the bottom of Booker's palm. It's like centimeters, millimeters away from the ball. He might have even grazed it, but Booker just puts the perfect touch, is able to avoid Paul George's hand just barely, and it was just like the perfect shot.
It was, and the thing that makes it even better were the virtual fans in the background.
Yeah.
All with their hands on their heads, looking very nervous about what's about to happen. And then just when you just see it all after the fact, and you get to see all those Clippers fans just looking that way, oh, it feels good.
Oh yeah.
And just a big shout out. This has been so much fun to watch. The NBA is doing great. No positive COVID tests inside the bubble since everybody showed up. This couldn't be going better.
Oh, yeah. No, the atmosphere has been awesome. I like the virtual fan thing. At first, I was hesitant, but it's actually been really fun. The crowd noise that they pump in is not too much, but it's very familiar, The music, they still have the same music and the sounds after free throws or whatever. They're getting all of that from each individual team. I was watching this game against the Heat, and there were times where it almost was just like watching a regular away game.
Really, it does seem that way. The crowd noise is on point. I mean, maybe it's a little loud since we can't hear the referee's whistles a lot of the time. That's maybe my biggest gripe about the whole thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ref whistles are tough to hear, but I mean, it really feels like a real game. When you hear the crowd instantly kind of go, oh, when someone misses a free throw, I'm amazed at how they're able to have that piped in so quick. It's pretty cool.
They even there was one game I was watching, I forget which one it was, but there was like a questionable call and they piped in some booze and I was like, wow, they're actually doing this.
You got to make it
pretty funny.
It's got to feel real for the refs too.
Yeah. Really. But no, I mean, it's been great. It has been so awesome to watch, and I mean, just I find myself being so excited for each game.
Right. Okay, let's get back into the Clippers game because we're excited about everything. Obviously, everything's going so well. But Clippers game, here we go. Devin Booker, obviously with the game winner, he scores 35 points, 8 assists. One thing about Booker's game in the bubble is the distribution. He's really showing that he can be the main playmaker for this team, and I'm not trying to discredit Rubio at all.
I mean, Rubio's been a great playmaker too, and Booker somehow has been even better. It's a good problem to have.
It really is, and then we have so many guys helping out, and that's what makes those assists happen, is when we actually finish the bucket, and that's been happening, which is fantastic.
Right.
And a guy who was having some troubles finishing in this game, Kawhi Leonard, he ends the game with 27 points, but he was 10 for 21 from the field. And just a little shout out to Mikal Bridges' defense, which has been pretty darn good through the bubble here.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, Kawhi is really good. If you can hold him to 27, that'll work. And then Paul George had 23 on 6 for 17 shooting. We'll take that.
We'll take that. And, keep in mind, Oubre's not here. He'd be matched up on one of those guys. But in this game, we saw Mikhail normally matched up on Kawhi. But then it was either Cam Johnson or Devin Booker guarding Paul George. And they did a pretty decent job on him, too. He was 6 for 17 from the floor in this game. So even though they were both over 20 points, we gave the Clippers two studs a lot of trouble in this one.
Yeah, I've been really happy with Cam Johnson on the defensive end, too. I mean, he's not perfect by any means, but he's just put on some muscle during the break, and he just looks big. And it's like, yeah, he's 6'8". He looks big. He's getting to the rim sometimes and dunking, and it's just like, wow, yeah, he can play power forward.
Yeah, he looks like the total package compared to what everybody assumed they were getting when they drafted him, except maybe James Jones. Maybe James Jones knew this was in case, and that's why he drafted him. But he looks so good at every aspect here. He's picking up double-doubles in the bubble. In this game, he had 8 points and 7 rebounds. That's a nice game for a rookie who you didn't expect to ever start a game this season in a starting role against the second-best team in the West, the Clippers.
Yeah, that rebounding has been big, especially without Baines, and Kaminsky's struggled a little bit. It's really nice to have Cam Johnson step up and get some boards.
Right, and when you're one of the bigger guys on the court, that's a responsibility for you. We're not a huge team right now, especially like you said, without Baines, and then Kaminsky hasn't been playing great, been playing low minutes. So Cam Johnson, he's the second biggest guy out on the court for us a lot of the time. And he's playing like it, which
he is.
It's great. And then we have to do this in every game. We have to shout out the bench mob. And Dario Saric goes for 13 points, 7 rebounds. Cameron Payne goes for 12 points, 3 assists, 2 boards. The Cameron Payne situation has been incredible. He's plus 14 in this game, and he's been a difference maker.
Yeah, he has. And Dario, too. I mean, Dario has embraced his bench role, and he is going to come out and give you 13, 15, maybe even 18 points and pull some rebounds down. He's looked really good. And in one of the broadcasts, they were saying that, he just worked with like the strength and conditioning coaches through all the COVID stuff, dropped some weight, just got stronger. And I think he is really in his perfect role right now.
Yeah, it's really great what Dario's doing right now, and something that I hadn't noticed earlier in the season, but something we've been leaning on as a team a little bit, Dario in the post. Yeah. He's it's slow down there, but it's slow but sure. When Dario has control of the ball in the post, he's going to get a decent look within a foot of the rim. And he's been finishing a lot of those, and that's another big reason why we're 5-0 right now.
Right. Well, and I think it's nice to slow it down every so often, too, because, like, we have some shooters, and if you get the ball to Dario in the post and he takes 5 or 6 seconds to get position, guys are going to start double teaming him. Even though it's Dario Saric, he is still going to get closer and closer to the basket, and someone eventually will help, and then he can kick it out if he has to.
Right. He's a solid playmaker, too.
Yeah.
All right. So this game, obviously, it was a big one. The game winner, we'll all remember that for a long time. But, 117-115 win over the Clippers to go, what does this put us at? 3-0?
3-0.
3-0. That felt good. And the next one against the Indiana Pacers. And we were heading into this one knowing that Sabonis was out. And we were thankful for that because he always gives us a lot of trouble. But either way in this game, the Pacers they kept their foot on the gas through this and made it interesting more than once. There were quite a few lead changes in this game.
Yeah, it was back and forth for a little bit. And, the Pacers are a good team. Oladipo did play. He didn't have a great game, but he did play. So, at the end of the day, we were really able to seal it with, a big win. We won by 15 in this game, which it really didn't feel like it. But, we just played a solid game overall, and we didn't let adversity get the best of us, We went down by 3 or 4 points toward the end of the third quarter. And I was just thinking, in the recent past, we would have just rolled over and given up. We build a decent lead early on, and then it goes away around, halftime, third quarter, end of the third quarter, they take a small lead. But instead of rolling over, we go on a huge run. I mean, how many points did we score? I think it was like a 21-0 run or something like that.
Right. And there had been an 18-0 run earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
This was basketball is a game of runs, and this was that on the tee.
Right. No lead is ever safe.
That's
but
very
we go
true.
on a run, they start to come back, we go on another run, we keep pushing, put our foot on the gas until the clock hits 0, and that's that.
And that's why basketball is the best sport in the world, if you ask me.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh, I'm just so happy. This is so fun.
I know.
I'm not used to this. All right, but the main takeaway in this game, TJ Warren, who has been playing insane in the bubble. We've all seen the stats. He's got to be averaging over 30, probably closer to 40 points a game in the bubble. But the one time he gets shut down is against the Suns, and that's Mikal Bridges again.
Yeah. Mikal just locked him up. I mean, he had 16 points, but 7 for 20 from the field. That's bad.
1 for 5 from downtown. TJ's been just on fire from 3, but, some contested shots. Pesky Mikal every step of the way. That'll wear you out. And I think TJ kind of curled up for this game a little bit. I think he knew that a lot of eyes were on him for this one.
They definitely were. And I think it's interesting to note that TJ has all these super high scoring, really good games, then plays us. Mikal guards him, shuts him down, and then the very next game, he goes back to scoring 35 or 40 points. More people need to be talking about Mikal Bridges. Zach Lowe has given him some love lately, but more people need to be talking about him. He's shutting guys down.
I know, and for as much attention as TJ gets for his bubble performance, is anyone going to say, but hey, Mikal Bridges shut him down? I don't think so.
Probably not. And
that's fine.
It is fine. And, I was thinking about this too. Defense just isn't as flashy, That's even Kawhi Leonard, someone like that who is well known for amazing defense, it still isn't talked about all that much.
No, until his offense came around to the point where it has been over the last couple years. Yeah, I don't think he got nearly the attention he maybe deserved for being such a good defender. That's true.
Right.
So we got a couple guys over 20 points in this game. DeAndre Ayton leads the team with 23, 10 rebounds too. Booker with 20 points, 10 assists. A couple double-doubles in the bubble. That's what I'm talking about, Mitch.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, and this was another game where Booker had some foul trouble, and the bench was able to carry things, as much as necessary. Booker had 5 fouls going into the fourth quarter, and our bench, Dario Saric, 16 points, Cam Payne, 15 points. They did what they had to.
Yep, and I mean, we can say this after nearly every game of the bubble so far, but Cameron Payne, again, just coming up huge and clutch and doing a little bit of everything. 6 for 9 from the floor, 3 for 5 from downtown, 3 boards, 3 assists, and a steal.
Yeah.
Who expects that out of Cam Payne?
No, well, we're starting to.
We are now, yeah.
Yeah, but for a long time, no one expected anything, and he is starting to kind of find his place on this team and maybe have a role moving forward even after all of this.
Yeah, that's very true. I'd say, especially through this game, I would say that the backup point guard spot is his to lose right now.
Yeah. Well, Javon Carter kind of gave him a run for his money, but this is very good. There's actual competition now for backup point guard. For a long time, it was just like Javon Carter, and he could suck as much as he wanted. Not that he did always, but he could, because it's like, who's his competition? Ty Jerome?
Right, and Ty Jerome pretty much no minutes throughout this. He got a junk minute or two at the end of this game, and same with Eli Okobo.
Yeah, and Ellie has had a little bit of an injury. I don't think it's anything too serious, but I mean, he wasn't playing super great before the hiatus either.
Right. But either way, at this point, with 3 more games left on our schedule, I really hope that if Ellie heals up, he doesn't need to see the court. No. We need to stick with Payne and Carter because those guys they're laying it on the line. They're playing tough, and you can tell, they are competing against each other.
For sure.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, that's great. It's really great. Yeah, I mean, this was a good game. Ayton definitely benefited from no Sabonis, but, I mean, they still had Miles Turner, who actually had a pretty good game. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 7 for 12 shooting. But, I mean, did what we could, and we won by 15, so fine.
Absolutely. And one thing to say about DeAndre Ayton through this, he hasn't looked dominant. He hasn't looked great. But it's a double-double every game out there, and he can just pick that up in his sleep. And it's so nice to consistently have that, to be able to lean on that, but we still want more.
Yeah, we definitely want more. And I know I've said this before, but it's like with Ayton, 20 and 10 is almost just like a given from him. And anything above 20 points and 10 rebounds is just like icing on the cake, the cherry on top, whatever other euphemism, platitude you want to use, It's pretty amazing how we take 20 and 10 for granted when it comes to DeAndre Ayton.
Right, and maybe the most underrated number 1 pick of all time.
Very possibly.
Okay, so we move on to the Heat game, and the Suns catch a little bit of a gift before this one. We learn that Jimmy Butler's out. We learn that Goran Dragic is out. We learn that Kendrick Nunn leaves the bubble right before this game. So they're missing a lot of playmakers, ball handlers, scorers on this team. But when tip-off happens, they come out strong, 32-25 at the end of the first, but the Suns come back and win it, 119-112.
Yeah, and this was another very resilient game for the Suns that in the past we probably would have just rolled over on. We get down by 7, 8 points at times, maybe even 10, 11, 12 points, but we keep clawing our way back, go on a little run. Then, early second quarter, mid-second quarter or so, we get up by a point or two. They come back, we come back very back and forth until the end of the game. We get on a little bit of a run toward the end of the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter, we just dominate.
It's nice watching the Suns play ball like this, and you got to give it up to the bench. Our bench has allowed leads not to expand when we're behind, but also have turned those small leads that the other team has into sizable leads for us. It's been crazy watching how determined our bench is, because during the regular season, the first 60 games or whatever, when our bench came in, that meant trouble for us. That meant that whatever lead that our starters had put together, it was going to evaporate, and we knew that. But now it's the exact opposite. We can lean on our bench for a push, and even extended pushes where they look great and get us big leads.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the bench has been helpful and very, very helpful in this game. Javon Carter, like we talked about, I mean, he has 20 points in this game and hits 6 of his 8 threes. We don't win this game without him. It was amazing.
Yeah, Javon really stepped up in this one, and apparently before the game, he told an assistant coach that he was going to hit 5 threes in this one tonight. And he had been cold through the bubble, and we weren't, we don't expect that out of Javon Carter. But the looks came tonight, and he was cashing in on them. It was a beautiful sight.
Yeah, and I mean, he leads the team in plus-minus with plus 11 in this game. It was awesome. And if we're talking plus-minus, we do need to shout out Cam Johnson, who in the Pacers game was plus 36.
Yeah, that's That's crazy.
And these are not like per 36 numbers. And it's not because he only played 2 minutes or it's adjusted or anything. No, like straight up plus 36. And he played, I believe it was 36 minutes. I'm double checking, but let's see. Yeah, he played 36 minutes and was plus 36 in that game. That's incredible.
That is.
I mean, yeah, these guys, I think we do have to give some credit to Monty Williams here, who is really doing a good job of riding the hot hand a little bit more than he has in the past, and just like adjusting rotations based on how things are going in each game. And I know early on that was a little bit of a gripe that we had, was he seemed really set in his rotations. And there were times where it's like, well, this guy's really hot, though. Ride him a little bit longer. Let him shoot a couple more times. Then if he misses, then, take him out. But he's been doing a great job of just, making in-game adjustments.
I hear you there. And I don't mean to take anything away from Monty here, but since we're without Kelly and Baines, we're kind of forced to keep these guys in a little bit. And
we are.
Luckily, they're playing up to the point that they need to if they expect to play minutes in the NBA.
Right, definitely. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess it's a blessing and a curse to not have those guys, because obviously we would love if they were playing and they would make a big difference, but we're still winning and rotations are looking good, and yeah, it's great.
Yep, there's nothing to gripe about, that's for sure. Maybe Frank Kaminsky's play in the bubble. Maybe that's the one thing I can get a little upset about. Frank's had a rough go at it, and the minutes dwindle. I mean, we played a 9-man rotation in this game against the Heat, and Frank only played 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was 0 for 3 from the floor, 0 for 2 from 3, -3, 0 points, 1 rebound. He just can't stay on the floor right now, and that's okay because we're winning and we don't need him.
Right. Well, DeAndre Ayton's playing well when he doesn't get into foul trouble, which in this game he did have 5 fouls, but it didn't come until the very end. So when Ayton is not in foul trouble, that's really helpful. And then Dario, 10 points and 8 rebounds in this game, but he was 2 for 3 from 3. His 2 makes are threes, and Frank can't hit a 3 to save his life right now, unfortunately.
Right. Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
I really like him, and I wish Ayton would take a few lessons from him, because did you see when he got fed in the post with Ayton on his back and he backed into him and then spun off of him,
spun the other way,
yammed it hard with 2 hands? Can we see that out of DeAndre Ayton? Yes, we've seen him get to the basket on a full head of steam once or twice, which is new, which I like seeing that. But we still haven't seen a post move where he tries to overpower his defender and just throw one home. Are we ever going to see that?
Not anytime soon. I mean, you watch Bam do that, and then you watch Ayton have a mismatch with someone like Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson on him, and he turns around and fades away on the baseline for like a 18-foot jumper. Like, I know he can make that, but I don't want to see it. Turn and go towards the basket.
Yep, I'd love to see that. And we have a game coming up against the Thunder where Steven Adams is there. Or I don't expect that to happen against Steven Adams, but
right.
Ayton needs to be more physical in matchups like that. And let's move it on to our matchups next week. And the first game is against Steven Adams and the Thunder. So what's it going to take to win this one? I know they're playing right now as we're recording, and it seems like they rested both Adams and Noel in that game. So do you think they see DeAndre Ayton on the schedule and say, let's get a full-strength Steven Adams to bully him all game?
That's what I'm thinking. Playing the day before does aid us because Chris Paul is playing. So that's going to help. But yeah, resting Noel and Adams, I think this is something I said last week. These teams are watching every game, They're probably watching more film than ever in the bubble, and they see that DeAndre Ayton is a problem. And if they can shut him down, then we have to work that much harder. And our backup bigs Dario's been pretty good, and Frank isn't doing anything. We have no Aaron Baines, who oftentimes would be our answer to Steven Adams. So, well, unless Baines plays, I don't think he will.
I was just thinking that maybe this would be a good one for him to come back.
It definitely would, but we'll see. I don't think we're trying to rush him back, but we'll see. So, yeah, I think they're intentionally resting them.
And, it's just all kind of interesting because they're locked into the playoffs. At what point are they going to completely pull back and save their guys for the playoffs? And there was a bit of an incident about that when the Jazz rested all of their starters in a game and then went full strength against a playoff team the next game. It just seemed a little interesting. It seemed like they, teams maybe want the Trailblazers to get that 8 seed so they can give the Lakers a run for their money. It seems like that. And apparently some Western Conference GMs and owners are really upset that that kind of thing is happening. So that's something else to keep in mind as we walk through the end of the bubble here. Who's going to be resting? Are teams favoring other teams to get them a playoff spot? And are all the cards stacked against our Phoenix Suns, even though we might go undefeated here? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we know that load management and all of this, there are these rules around it that seem to be put in place and then not really enforced. I don't know, but there's so many ways around it. You just say, oh, they have a knee contusion, and that's it, Like, I get a knee contusion from running into a file cabinet or whatever.
I hear you, brother. But another instance in the Clippers-Blazers game, they sit out Paul George for the last 5 minutes of the game. The Trailblazers have every opportunity in the world to come back and win that one, being at full strength versus the Clippers scrubs. And they blow it thanks to 2 missed Damian Lillard free throws, which made every Suns fan just scream with joy.
Yeah.
But the things that have been happening are just so crazy. And I want this bubble experience to be over, but I'm really enjoying the ride. I want to see how this all unfolds and finishes.
I don't ever want it to end. It's so fun. I mean, obviously I want to be going to games in person again, but I mean, for the time being, I want basketball like this until COVID ends,
Yeah, this is crazy. And the playoffs themselves, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's so exciting. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have to figure out a way to shut down Adams.
Yeah, and
if we can do that, we'll win.
I mean, Gilgeous-Alexander is a great player. They have Gallinari. Mm-hmm. They're a good team, and it'll be interesting to see how we match up.
Yeah, and we've got to hope for a poor shooting night. We've hit a couple teams on, just bad shooting nights. The Heat, Duncan Robinson did not shoot super well. I think he had 25 points, but he could have had a lot more if he would have hit his threes,
Right.
And some of that you can attribute to good defense, and some of it is just not getting bounces going your way and that kind of thing. So got to hope we continue to catch teams on these bad shooting nights.
Yep, we're due for some good luck.
Yeah.
All right. So after this Thunder game, the next one is, it's a back-to-back. So we got the Thunder Monday, Sixers Tuesday. And luckily, not great for the NBA or anything or the Sixers, but they'll be without Ben Simmons, which is such a big part of their team. But, they still have Joel Embiid. That matchup with Ayton makes me a little worried. But we have more to play for than anyone we match up against for the rest of this. Mm-hmm. So we're the hungrier team, and we've beat the Sixers before. I think we can do it again.
Yeah, we also just tend to play well against the Sixers for whatever reason.
Right.
So Embiid is problematic, yes, but no Ben Simmons really is favorable for us.
And before the Heat game, I sent you a text and I said Devin Booker's due for 40 points. And I really thought he was going to get it in that one, but maybe he's saving it up for the 76ers.
Yeah, well, because he had 35 against the Heat. He had 35. He's had 35 a couple times in this bubble. Right. I want to see him get to 40, though.
Yep.
This could be the
piece
game.
for the Sixers. I'm feeling that.
Sounds good.
And, their playoff spot should be locked in too. And it seems like Joel Embiid is the last guy that you'd want out there playing meaningless minutes in a meaningless game. Maybe we catch a break here.
Maybe. I mean, the fact that it's the second to last game for us and for the Sixers, I believe, then maybe they do sit him out.
We can hope. And then the last game of the bubble for the Suns is against the Mavericks again, and that's on Thursday. Another team whose playoff spot will definitely be locked in if it's not already by then. So if you're the Mavericks coach, do you play Luka and KP or do you give them a rest?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, so much could change in this week. Like, this is such a big week for the NBA. I think if you see this is your spot, this is who you're going to be playing, there's one more game in the way of this, you feel like your guys have gotten enough run to, get back into game shape, I could see resting either one or both of Porzingis and Luka.
I hope that happens. Our first game against them, I said this last week on the episode, it was the most upset I've been in a win due to all the ref ball that happened and watching Luka shoot nearly as many free throws as we did as a team. That was a tough game. I think that was maybe our toughest one in the bubble so far.
Yeah, that or the Clippers game.
Right. I guess that Clippers one, it just feels so good because of that game winner. But, those were both very tough games, and I don't want to match up with a full-strength Mavs again. So I'm crossing my fingers that someone's getting the night off there.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think it just goes into the importance of us winning. I mean, we've got to win all of these games. The playoff scenario that really is looking somewhat possible is we win our last 3 games and the Blazers lose 1 game. If that happens, we're in.
It's so crazy. Before this started, we had less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs. And we've watched it go from 1 to 3 to 5 to 6. We're up to a 10% chance
10%.
right now. And that'll be different by the time you listen to this because some games will have been played. But This has been such a fun ride, and it's the first meaningful basketball in nearly a decade for us Suns fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Well, and at time of recording, we do have some important games going on. The Raptors are leading the Grizzlies 81-68 as we're recording this. Yep. So that's third quarter's almost over there. And then the Spurs are up on the Pelicans 43-26, about halfway through the second quarter. I know.
Smoking them.
So, like we say, no lead is ever really safe in the NBA, but I like the Raptors' chances in this game. And then the Blazers play the 76ers later today at time of recording. So if the Sixers can win that, oh, please.
I'm a big 76ers fan until tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Well, and Portland is favored by 2.5 as of right now. But you never know.
You never know. It's the NBA.
That's right. But in this Mavs game, we have our bet question. It's the last game of the regular season, so we're saving our bet question for that. And we're going to look at a team stat. The Suns have been very good at assisting on scoring plays lately, and just throughout the whole season. So the question is, how many assists will the Suns have as a team?
It seems like they're mid-20s every game throughout the bubble without looking at the stats. I just know that we move the ball so well, and that's how we score. So I'm going to stick with that trend. Let's go 26.
Ooh, okay. In my head, I had this already. I'm not just saying it because you said it. This is what I was thinking from the start. 27.
Okay, Mitchell.
I know. I've done it every week of this bubble, but I got to do what I got to do.
Well, you know what? You'll probably just hit it square on the head again, and it won't even matter. So.
Well, and it's funny because throughout the season before the hiatus, I was not this hot.
I kind of had your number.
You did.
Pre-bubble.
I think I won overall 1 or 2 months, but it was close. But you got me most of the time. But the bubble, I've just been on it.
That's right.
So, yeah, the number of team assists for the Suns, tweet at us at Sunny and PHX Pod with your guess, and whoever's closest will get that shout out next week.
We're going to have a feast at the Cornish pasty. That's what's going to happen.
We need to.
Yeah.
I think the downtown one might be open again. Shout out to the Cornish pasty. If you live in Phoenix, you got to eat there. It's so good.
One of everything on your menu for my boy Mitch, because he's just so good at Suns trivia now.
We might have them cater the rehearsal dinner.
I'll be there.
Yeah, you will be there.
I will be there, and I'll happily be there.
Yeah.
×2 for many reasons.
Yes, it's so good. But with that, we will move to our non-sports section of the show. And this question that I'm just coming up with off the top of the dome is, speaking of restaurants, speaking of going out and doing things, what's the first thing you're going to do once COVID restrictions are like completely gone?
Ooh, that's good. I might need a minute to think about this. So.
Well, let me tell you my answer. I have my answer.
Yeah.
I'm a big concert goer. A lot of concerts I've been planning on going to have been canceled, postponed, whatever, because of all this. Rightly so. We got to do it. This is going to be over eventually, whenever that is. So once it's over, I'm going to find the first metal show that's in the area. I'm going to buy tickets, and I'm going to jump into a mosh pit.
That's the way to celebrate the ending of a pandemic, is a mosh pit.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do.
I believe that. That's good. So I think, and you know, we've been playing it safe. We're not overly cautious here or anything, but we've been staying away from restaurants. And my wife loves going out to eat. I enjoy it, not as much as her, I'll just say that. But I just want to take my wife out to dinner. It's been a really long time, and we need it. So, you know, maybe we'll kind of break our own rules and go somewhere if we can find a good time to do it. But I think that's probably number one, and I think my wife will be happy to hear that too.
I'm sure she will. But, you know, and restaurants are one of those things that, like, it seems like there is a safe way to do it, you know? I know earlier on in this, we went out once or twice, and, you know, as soon as you get there, you wash your hands, you wear your mask except for when you're eating, and you sit outside. Sitting outside is the key, though, because we really can't do that right now. It's just so hot.
No, unless it's about 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I think that's when I enjoy outdoors.
Yeah,
I've been going real hard night owl lately just to enjoy those couple hours at night.
Yeah. No, I mean, the other night it was like 106 at midnight.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know. And it's going to be hot again next week, but I think we can say it's monsoon season. We've had a small one, so I'm hoping we get some more in the near future.
That'd be nice. Or, you know, I'm just ready for it to cool down. We've got one more bad month of heat, I'd say, and then we start going on the up and up, and things are beautiful, and our relatives from back in the Midwest are sending us pictures of blizzards, and then we reply with a picture next to our pool, and you know, it's a yearly occurrence.
Definitely. Well, and it seems to me, at least from my perspective, that COVID-wise, time is at least going a little bit faster now. I know early on, like March, April, like time just seemed to go really slowly. Yeah. And, you know, Amir Blumenfeld had made this joke. I made this joke quite a bit. I got it from him. But that the month of April, the month of March, maybe even May, was just like one big square rather than like separate boxes on the calendar. Yeah. That's kind of what it felt like. And I think lately, like August, even July, a little bit of June, time is seeming to pass a little bit more normally. My weeks are starting to go by a little bit quicker.
That's good. And I can say that being able to watch basketball for 6 hours a day if you choose to, that's been really nice. That makes the time go by and entertaining.
It helps. Well, and I think just having that schedule is so helpful, because it's like, okay, the Suns play on Monday and Wednesday and Saturday this week or whatever it is, Then you have those things to look forward to, and it gives you like a timestamp for where you're at in the week, because it's like, okay, it's Saturday, the Suns play. It actually feels like a Saturday now.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're getting back on track. The Suns are on track for a playoff spot, and this is just insane. Let's keep winning these last 3 games. Let's see some losses go to some of our opponents. Man, if we make the playoffs, oh my gosh.
I know. We've been doing this show for like 5 years now, 5.5 years. And we've never once been even at the point where we can taste the playoffs.
No.
And now we're like getting closer.
It's crazy, and we're enjoying it so much. And under the circumstances that we just talked about, it's been a rough time for everybody in the world lately. And now we get to watch. If you're listening to this show, you love basketball. It's one of your hobbies. Things are coming back to normal, while the Suns are doing the abnormal, winning games, and it's just been a blast. And we thank you for listening to this podcast where you get to listen to us enjoy ourselves. We have fun doing this, and man, if we're going to be a playoff team, it's going to be even more fun. Wins are fun. This is dragging on. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Sunny and PHX Pod. Thanks for listening, and go Suns.
Was filled with rain, sunny. You smiled at me and really eased the pain. The dark days are gone and the good days are here. My sun is so sweet.